First of all, thank you to all of our community partners statewide. It has been an incredible effort. The concentration on all of the resources and efforts for our small business have been fantastic, and we're going to continue that effort. Our boot camp is daily touch base with all of our small businesses. We're going to continue to do this through June. We'll make our formal announcement next week. Our initiative is to do a small business boot camp, but also a resource collective, and we're actually putting that up on our website as we speak, so we're very excited about that. This week's topics have been fantastic. Yesterday we did managing your workforce during reopening, the legal issues of employer-employee. We are going to do another session on that. It was an excellent presentation by Fenmore Craig. Today we're really pleased to have Chris Ronzio from Testimonials, Revamping Your Business Post-COVID. This is going to be an excellent discussion, and hearing from Chris. Tomorrow, Navigating Your Workspace. This is with Jonathan Kaiser, talking about a new workspace for businesses, how to return to work safely. And then, as we have done the last couple of weeks, Thursday and Fridays are going to be Safety on Thursday, our safety sessions. And on Friday, we have a special guest from Facebook, from our global marketing retail group, to teach us a lot more about Facebook marketing to retail. So please do plan on joining us on Friday for that as well. We'd like to do, as we've been doing, a really quick update on PPP and other small business association updates. Robert, could you help us with that?
Yes, good morning, everybody. So we're still have the number of 114 billion remaining as of May 16th. Based on the trends and how that's been going, we're probably still at about 110 billion available. We did have some updates that the SBA shared. They broke it down by states, and so through rounds 1 and 2, Arizona has received over 72,000 small business loans through the PPP program for over 8.5 billion. The average loan size for both rounds totaled is 118,000, and the average loan size for just round 2 is 78,000. That's showing a lot more of the smaller businesses getting those loans in round 2. Again, the SBA released some loan forgiveness, PPP loan forgiveness information, their application and instructions. And you can find that on the SBA site or on this link when we post the slides to the website.
Thanks, Robert. Really appreciate that. And next week, please mark down Wednesday of next week. We are going to do the SBA PPP loan forgiveness workshop for our 9 o'clock session. That's going to be an important one to go through the application for forgiveness and all the things you need to think about for that. And hopefully we'll get some more guidance from SBA on that prior to that. Also, just a reminder, Monday is Memorial Day, so we're not going to have a session on Monday next week. We'll start on Tuesday. Also, just reminding everybody as we do, SBDC sites are fantastic. Please navigate and check those out for local banking contacts and latest developments. Also, our Arizona at Work is also working on a whole bunch of different things for employer liaison, cross-walking employees, consultant veteran funding. And then also on manufacturing, small manufacturers, please do check out Arizona's manufacturing extension. This is going to all be shown on Arizona Together, as well as azcommerce.com /COVID. You'll see an incredible amount of resources and updates on that. These are just some of the guides that we're starting to post up on that resource. We'll be organizing that resource collective on the website as well. So please stay tuned for that. So stay informed. Please use our resources, azcommerce.com /COVID. I'm really psyched today to have Chris Ronzio, founder and CEO and friend from Testimonials. He's done a great job building a company, has all things small business, as he's working with clients from small business, and is going to share some incredible tools for us today. So with that, I don't want to delay Chris. I know he's got a lot of great information to share. So welcome, Chris.
Thanks, Andy. I appreciate it. Let me share my screen and we'll get this started. All right. You seeing the slides? Is this good?
Perfect.
Perfect. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm really excited to chat with you today. When Andy and I started texting about this a few weeks ago, he told me about the boot camp and what they were doing to really help assist small businesses during this time. And I love it. And I told him I want to be involved with the rebuilding part, because I think part of what unifies us as small business owners here in Arizona and what builds this community is that sense of resiliency that we want to bounce back from this. So the fact that you're tuned in and you're on this presentation means that you're looking for tools and tips to scale back up. Now, at this point, I think a couple months into this, if you've made cuts, you've already made those cuts. If you've trimmed back, you've already trimmed back. And I think what the dialogue I'm starting to hear is how do we rebuild from this? How do we take this opportunity as kind of a clean slate and figure out what the version 2.0 or 3.0 of my business looks like? So that's what we're going to talk about here today, is just reinventing your business, rethinking what you do, your products, your services, your customers, and piecing it back together in a way that could be better than the pre-COVID business that you had. So that's what we'll cover today. So as I was preparing for the presentation, really just yesterday and this morning, I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw this picture that my brother posted. Now, my brother is the CMO over at Trainual. He runs all our marketing. And so he's the creative kind of guy, but he also does a lot of travel, and he also climbs the biggest mountains in the world. And so he climbed Mauna Kea on the big island of Hawaii. And he posted this picture recently of the desert, of the lava flow on the way to the mountain. And he's very poetic. So his message was that, the devastation of the lava coming down the mountain was kind of contrasted with the new growth, the reemergence of life that is actually growing through the lava rocks. So I know this sounds kind of cheesy and poetic, but I saw this last night as I was just scrolling through, and I had to pull the image because I thought it was such a perfect metaphor for what we're going through right now. The COVID, the pandemic just came out of nowhere and wiped out a lot of the plans that we had going into 2020. I know I had big plans, you probably did too. And so now we're starting to think about what is the little grass that's starting to emerge and where can we really double down to start to build a new business. So I'm going to cover just 5 different points. They're pretty simple. We'll talk stories. This shouldn't be too long. And I really want anybody that has questions or wants to dig in deeper on any topic, just use the chat or the Q&A or whatever. Andy, you can chime in and say whatever's been normal. I really want this to be interactive and I want you to get the most out of it. So number 1, as you're paring your business back, you have all these different products and services that you've offered. And the first thing you have to do is figure out what's the best one. Of all the things you did in the past, because your customers sucked you into providing that or altering your plans or offering this version of this thing that you did for this customer, you probably had a bunch of different products or services, a bunch of different SKUs. And so with this, you want to start thinking about how you rebuild and be more intentional about the SKUs or the services that you offer. So a few months ago, I participated in this pitch competition and I got this huge check, this like Happy Gilmore style check. And it was the first time in my life I've ever held one of these things. So for the next 24 hours, I was posting pictures of me everywhere with this check, laying on my couch, sleeping in bed, going for my morning jog, getting food out of the refrigerator. And I'm showing you this not to talk about the check, but to talk about this exercise called the largest check. So hopefully these images get you to remember that. One of the guys that I've been listening to for years, huge mentor of mine, whether he knows it or not through his podcast, is a guy named Dan Sullivan. He's got a program called the Strategic Coach. It's a coaching program. And this exercise that he presented through a podcast was transformational for me. So like I said, it's called the largest check. And here's how you do it. This is an actual screenshot of the first year I was consulting after I sold my last business. So going into this new consulting thing, I was trying to figure out how to cobble together enough revenue. And the largest check exercise was the perfect, just right place, right time for me to think about my business. So I want everybody that's listening to this to do this for your business, whether you do it right now, sketching on a piece of paper, screenshot this, look at the website, pull it after the fact and do it for your business. But what you're trying to figure out is what is the current largest check that you're comfortable receiving from people. It's really about your level of comfort and the level that you're playing at in your business. And if you're in a company where people don't write you checks or they don't pay in one big lump sum, the way you do this is you stack rank your clients or your customers, just like I did here. These are, I blurred this out, but these are actual customers that paid me for consulting. And then you show the amount of revenue that they paid you for the entire last calendar year. So this might have been one project on one day. This might have been all of their transactions over the course of the year if they're coming in shopping at your store and you've got a point of sale system. But what this is just showing you by customer, how much did each person spend? So you list all your customers, you list all the revenue, and if you use a tool like a QuickBooks Online or something, this is actually a report that you can pull. You can say, show me revenue by customer, and pull this out, put it in Excel, put it in Google Sheets, and then do a simple formula to add it all up. The next thing that you do once you've got all your clients and all your revenue is you look at what your current largest check is. And the reason it's kind of a weird number is it's an average of your top 5 customers. The reason you do this is because your top customer might have been an outlier. So you kind of want to scrap that one, throw it away, and you want to get more of a standard range. Like, what am I comfortable as a business owner or as a salesperson or whatever? What am I comfortable selling in my business? And this number tells you exactly what that is based on today. So this is the snapshot of your last 365 days. This is your current largest check that you're comfortable selling. The next thing you do is you set your next largest check. So in my case, I was just over 10,000 and my goal was to get to 20,000 in the next year. And then you set what they call your dream check. And that's like, if I had the perfect customer come along, like I can't even fathom someone spending this much at my store or writing me a check for this amount of money or swiping their card for this kind of transaction. But if they did, that's what that dream amount was. So you go through, you list all your revenue, you average the top 5, you brainstorm your next largest check and your dream check, and then you brainstorm, how do I make this happen? Like of the biggest customers I had, what were the similarities? And what's gonna make the gap from my current largest check to my next largest check? For me, this was such a transformational exercise. And so I went through here and I talked about hiring someone. I talked about increasing my monthly retainer engagements. I talked about minimum contracts. And I had to brainstorm, what is even a $25,000 estimate look like? Like, what would that include so that I have a comfort level of selling that next time I'm in a conversation with someone that's a good fit? So for me, this was a really great exercise. And what it's doing is, again, it's telling you your comfort level. It's telling you, if you look back, what are you comfortable selling? Because I know that through the pandemic right now, you might have a temptation to dial back and say, let me discount, let me sell for a lower amount. And your comfort level might be in this like scarcity mode where you're retracting. And what this exercise does is it shows you, where's the floor? Where is the spot that, I've been comfortable the last year? And then what I also did here was set a minimum. And I said the minimum number, the minimum dollar amount that I'm going to allow someone to write me a check for is 5,000. And what that did is, if you see this list, this cuts out a lot of the small projects I was doing, but it focuses on the top, the kind of 80-20 rule of where I want my business to go. So think about that for you. It doesn't mean your business doesn't need to do anything under that range. It means you don't need to do anything under that range. Great exercise. So start with the largest check. Next exercise I want you to go through now or on your own time is thinking through your best clients. So as you're designing your best products and service looking forward, again, your historical information is some of the best data that you have. So think through this like 3 Venn diagram, whatever, like from back in school. The first thing I want you to think about is the top 5 customers or clients or whatever you call it that have been easiest to work with. Like the relationships that just feel easy, that you're like, man, I wish every customer was like them. I want to just work with people like them because I enjoy it so much. They're easy. They're easy. Like the process of working with them, they come in, they drop a lot of money, they order all the big things off the menu, they walk out, they never complain, they're easy. So that's the first thing. Brainstorm 5 of those. The next thing you're going to do is the top 5 best results. So this might be people that leave you great reviews. This might be people that are thanking you a year or 2 later for your service. These might be some of your best referral people. Like, who have you produced the best results for? Name those people as a separate category. And then the third thing is think through your top 5 most profitable. So different from the largest check, You know, you might have had someone spend $20,000 with you, but it cost you $25,000 in terms of labor and productivity and late night calls and sacrifices that you were making to make that job finally over. And I've had those too. But then you have other ones that might be really profitable. Like, this ties back to the people that were easy to work with and your best results. And as you think through those couple top categories, what you'll do is center in on like, wow, these are the 1 or 2 or 3 people that have been the best to work with for my company. And let me start to figure out why. Like, what about that engagement was so unique or so easy or so enjoyable? Was it a specific type of service that you were offering that you just love to do? Was it a specific size customer that you just love to work with? It tells you a lot about your business. So if you haven't done this, go through this exercise either with yourself or with your team. And then the third thing I want you to do is think about the trends. Of course, we're going through kind of a tumultuous time right now, but there's some trends that are emerging. There's a ton of these, but I listed 5 across the top of this table. So first, workforces are going remote. Everybody knows that. People are working from home. Nobody wants to go back to the office. The people that are going back want more flexibility now in terms of being able to work remotely on occasion, because they just proved they could do it. So the world is going more remote. Social distancing is the next thing. Like, people need to space out. They're trying to abide by that. The next one is on demand. Like, you need stuff when you need it, whether it's Instacart deliveries from the grocery store, your Amazon shipments, and you're very sensitive to not wanting to have too much overhead or too much inventory. Like, you'd rather buy just what you need when you need it, or hire just who you need when you need it right now. Because as a business, we're sensitive to high overhead. We just got burned, right? So this on-demand thing is a trend. Next, health conscious. People are wearing masks. They've got the, things that they pull up over their necks. They're thinking about what they're touching. They've got gloves. So think about this trend of being health conscious. And the last one is people are just yearning for connection. This is why, like, the social media sites are blowing up, at dating sites, there's so much activity on those things because people are feeling this isolation and they want to counteract that with connection. So those are just 5 trends. But what I want you to do is, going back through those last couple slides, what you should have gotten is, like, of the whole menu of 50 or 100 or 1,000 or 10 different things that I've offered in the past, what are the couple that I really like to do, that are really profitable, that I enjoy the customers that buy these things? Now let me list these out and filter them through the trends that are going on today, and just give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And what should emerge out of here is the 1 or 2 things that could do really well right now. So part of this whole first part here is just trying to figure out what could really kill it for your business right now, because you can't focus on everything. It's not January or December, it's May or going forward, right? The world is different, your business is different. So just pick a couple of things that you can do, really narrow your focus. All right, number 2. What everyone should be doing right now is considering what niche you can serve. Where can you really go deep instead of going wide? So I'll give you a story from my own history. So my first company, when I was a teenager, I grew this to a national business. It was a video production company. And at the beginning, we did any kind of live events. It was like cheerleading and dance and soccer games and football games and talent shows and graduations and all this kind of stuff, live events. But as we narrowed the focus of the business, we only started to do figure skating. There were like a couple little peripheral other things that were very similar, but we largely only did figure skating. So this is a picture of me. I think I'm like 19 or 20 right here, and I'm directing a national championship event that was streaming through NBC's truck to go out as a pre-Olympics qualifying event. And I couldn't have imagined doing this a year or 2 before, but it was really narrowing down on this one niche that opened those opportunities up for me. So I want to talk through like why I picked the niche I did, in case it gives you any insights, and then also why you should pick a niche. So first, why I picked figure skating. Just thinking through rationally here. First, is super expensive to participate. I don't know if anybody watching this has ever bought ice time or gotten a figure skating coach, but you pay hundreds of dollars an hour just to practice for this sport. And so when we're selling DVDs or video coverage, there's a high price elasticity. There's a lot, a willingness to pay was very high for a DVD, whereas at a local soccer game, not so much. The next reason is that the existing competition was not innovating. So I personally went to figure skating events, scouting it out before we ever bid on our first competition. And I want you to think through your industry, your business, like go shop your competitors, go to their stores, go to their restaurants, go to their websites, look at what they're doing and figure out where are they not innovating? Where are they stagnant? What can you do differently than what you're seeing them do? And for me, it was like a open field in figure skating. The next one is, for me, it was the occasions were infrequent. Like as a figure skater, you'd participate in maybe like a regional or a sectional championship and then a national championship. And so you're working really hard for months or years until that event, and you really want to commemorate it with a video. So the desire to purchase was extreme compared to when somebody's going to something every single week or a couple times a week. They don't need to spend money on every game every week. The next thing here is that it's really hard to do it yourself. So for figure skating coverage, if you've ever been in an ice rink, you know, there's a small person going around the ice. They're jumping, they're spinning, they're moving unpredictably. And if you try to film that with your home camcorder or your iPhone, it's really hard to do. And so for us, with professional cameras right next to the scoring booth and videographers trained in this, we had a product that was just so superior to what you could do yourself. So think about that for your business. Can people do certain products or services themselves, or is what you're providing, blows away what they could DIY? So the next thing I want you to think about with the niches, you probably heard this before, the riches are in the niches. I didn't make it up, but a few months ago, we had someone come to our house and put up this shiplap wall. And so if anybody's ever watched HGTV, I know this was like a huge thing over the last few years, but shiplap, I don't know, it's just wood layered or something like that. Not my thing. But the guy that came, he was working on the wall all day. And I asked him, you know, like, how long have you been doing this? How busy are you? And he was like, man, I am booked out for months because people want this. This is all I do. Like all I do is come to people's houses. I buy these boards in super bulk. I paint them white everywhere I go. And then I go house to house to house making these things. And business is crazy. And so I was thinking about that and I'm like, man, he has niched down so specifically. Like he's not a handyman. He's not doing painting and tile and backsplashes and all these home improvement things. He literally just does white shiplap walls. And so because of that, he's got a ton of business. He's crushing it. And so think about your business and think where are the riches in your business? How can you take advantage of this? You know, the first thing, you're way easier to refer. If you're just the person that does this specific thing, like the shiplap walls, then anytime someone mentions a shiplap wall, you're like, oh, I got a shiplap guy. You got to talk to my shiplap person because that's all they do. They're super good at this. People perceive that narrow focus as expertise. And because you're busy and because you're doing so many of that type of job, you're really good at it. So that's going to get you a lot more business. The next thing here is it's easier to target customers. So think about if you were running ads for your business, your handyman service versus your shiplap wall service. The images and the copy and the ads are going to be so different because in one scenario, you're trying to capture this wide bucket. You got this wide net. Whereas in the other, you're so focused. So people that are scrolling through Instagram or whatever are like, Instagram's listening to me. This is crazy. I found, like, we were just talking about shiplap walls because you're serving the very specific need that they're looking for. Next one, it's easier to find partners. So think about in my example with the figure skating video, once we committed to doing tons of figure skating events, we started seeing the same people at every event. And so we would see, you know, the people that did the t-shirts at all the figure skating things and the people that did the photos, the action photos, to the point that we started partnering up. And we started pitching services to other events and saying, look, we've got a suite of products that we can offer. It's an all-in-one solution for your event. And the people we were selling loved that because we just made it easier on them. So it's easier to find partners when you're narrowly focused rather than when you're just the broad, general, do-it-all kind of person. And then the last thing here is that it's easy to attract employees with a very specific interest. So Trainual, my current business, for example, we are a small business playbook software, help you onboard and train all your existing people, keep them up to speed on how you do what you do in your business. But we only focus on small businesses. And so I'm always preaching small business this, small business that. Like, here's from my experience being a small business owner. And so the people that apply to work for Trainual are ones that are passionate about small business because they see that on our website. They understand who we're serving. They've seen the problem or had the problem themselves. And so it's a recruiting tool. So narrow down, and I promise the riches are in the niches. It's not just a cliche. All right, number 3, your biggest asset is the work you've already done. Another story. So this is me literally on Friday, looking like a dork on this Segway that I got, which I pulled over to my desk. So I'll show you it in real life. So it's super heavy. I don't know if you've crashed it. I don't know if you've used one of those before. You can comment in the comments if you want in the chat. So fun. And I've wanted one of these things for like, I don't know, 5 years. And so the last couple months, I realized that I was accruing all these Amex points because I usually travel a lot. And that's what I spend my Amex points on, is to travel. Now I'm not traveling. So all of a sudden I've got this big bank of points. And it was like a bank account that I totally forgot about. Like, I wasn't even thinking about it. And so one day when I'm scrolling through my Amex app, I was like, oh my gosh, I've got all these resources from my purchases in the past, from things I've done in the past that I wasn't even thinking about. How can I cash in on that? And so for me, it was buying a Segway. But for you, the real thing I'm talking about here is all of your past client work, all of your past customers. Because the thing that you can produce from that resource that you already have is testimonials and reviews and stuff that makes it easier to get business today. So back when I was consulting, after every consulting engagement, would email the person and, send them their final report. And they would every time be like, thanks so much. This was amazing. I loved working with you. This is great. And I would say, I love getting this by email, but I'd really appreciate if you could put that into a LinkedIn recommendation. Do you mind if I send you one? And every time they were like, yeah, of course. And so I would send a request and I would get just all these LinkedIn recommendations. So this is a screenshot I had from a while ago. But the LinkedIn recommendations, first, they're great on LinkedIn if that's a good place for you to get business. But then I took that and repurposed it. And I turned it into this PDF that you can see on the right here that I would send to every new person I was working with. So every new proposal or every new intro that I got, I led with the testimonials. If they weren't introduced from someone I had already worked with, I said, hey, before we get into this, I want you to just read through these and see if this makes sense for your business based on the results I produce for them, because that's what I do. If it doesn't feel like it's in alignment with you, like, let's just not even talk. And so subliminally, it's like letting my past customers do the selling for my new customers. And this is an asset for your business if you haven't taken advantage of it. Now is the time to ask. People want to be helpful. So if you're not asking for money, you're asking for reviews, you're asking for Yelp reviews, you're asking for Google reviews. This stuff is free. People can do this to help you right now. There is no excuse not to ask for this or to look back and collect all the ones that you've gotten and produce something with it that you can go use going forward. So some of the ways we've used it going forward at Trainual, like we got these testimonials that people were just organically posting on Twitter. And so we snapshotted these testimonials. We just put, screenshotted them from the Twitter app, and we turned them into Instagram story ads and LinkedIn ads and Twitter ads. And because it's native, you see it, you recognize that as a tweet. You see that this is not us talking about us. This is customers talking about us, and you believe it more. And so this is currently, as of today, one of our highest performing ads over the last 2 months, because we're just screenshotting reviews. We're just screenshotting testimonials, and we're not doing anything to this other than like the middle slide or the last slide there, we threw a screenshot and some of the awards we had won. But just the idea of seeing someone else's words in a tweet form or in a Facebook post form or in an email. Like I had someone email me about 2 months ago about how they were using this downtime to really button up their processes. I screenshotted the Gmail, the whole email from Gmail, screenshot it. We ran it as a Facebook ad, and people are like, oh, I'm reading somebody's email. Like, this is interesting. What is that? They read through it. They understand the testimonial. They're more likely to click through and see what we're all about. So think about all of your customers in the past as an asset that maybe you're not tapping into. And then the last thing we've done with this feedback is we produced case studies. We produced video ads. So we went to some of our top customers and sent a camera crew out. And this was, of course, before COVID. But right now, everybody can just send you a clip of recording themselves on their webcam or their phone, and you can put that stuff to work. You can make a simple case study on your website. You can clip together a simple ad using free iMovie tools or have a friend of yours do it. This is the stuff people are interested in right now, because as a community, we're banding together to try to get through this. And if someone sees that their friend is recommending you, they're going to comment on it. They're going to tag that person. They're going to say, so cool, saw you on this post. And now you've got a broader audience that's getting exposed to your business. So this is viral kind of stuff that just really helps proliferate the good work that you're already doing. So don't forget about that bank account of customer reviews that you've got. All right, number 4, build a repeatable process. So part of restructuring your business and analyzing your new products and services and going back to customers and figuring out the best job you did for everyone is, how do I fine tune the thing that I want to scale around? Like, how do I make this so that as the market picks up, as demand picks up, I can not just do this once a day, I can do it 1,000 times a day. I can actually build an organization around this. And to do that, you need a repeatable process. So back to my video days, when I first got started in video production, I literally did anything, like anything that would require a camera. I did weddings like this one. This was my English teacher in high school. So I did weddings, I did bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs. I did like grandpa's 80th birthday party. I did sweet 16, quinceañeras, like any kind of party. I did video montages. I did music videos. I did corporate videos. I did commercials. Like if it required a camera, I was like, yep, sign me up. But like I said, that's not a great way to scale your business, not from a niche standpoint, not from a focus standpoint, but also not from a process standpoint. Because the problem is when you do so many different things, you're customizing it every single time. Your process changes every single time. And if your process is going to change for every single project, you can't possibly scale what you're doing. So contrast that with the figure skating events that we started to do when I was in college. Now you can see this is an arena full of people that we're getting set up before the event, but we would do these events that were like a synchronized figure skating championship with 3,000 participants and 15,000 people in the audience or 20,000 people in the audience. And we'd sell thousands and thousands of DVDs of the exact same performance, the exact same event. That was a repeatable process. And that was something that we could set up our cameras, plug in our cables, plug in the DVD machines, and put out our sales forms and do that over and over and over again, hundreds of times at every state in the country, which is what we ended up doing. And so think about the services that you're offering. Is there a repeatable process, or are you doing it custom every time? Because largely custom doesn't scale. Custom is really hard to scale. Now, there's some things that can be customized and scale. Customized can scale, but it's customized with a very standardized process. So you all know Cold Stone. You've probably all been there. You know, they have a very customizable offering, but their process for delivering that is the same every time. You walk in the line, you order off the board, the person makes, mixes in your toppings, you pay by weight or what size of the cup or whatever it is, and you're out the door. Like that is a standard process. And so thinking about your business, you can still introduce customizable elements as long as your process is standardized. So have a repeatable process. And the thing you're trying to get out of this is just the sequence. It's how you do what you do. And if you feel like you've got a pretty good process, then the next thing to do is to write it down. So of course, that's what our system does, but really it's as simple as getting some people in a room, socially distanced or in a Zoom call like this, and putting Post-it notes in order and saying, we do this, then we do this, then we do this, then we do this. Get it written down, even if it's Post-it notes and a photo from your cell phone, because you need to know a repeatable process for how you do that thing if you ever want to stop doing the thing. And so that's the last part of this portion here. When I started the business, even with the figure skating events, I was behind the camera. I was doing all the camera work. But by creating the process and saying, this is how we set up the cameras, this is how we record the video, this is how we name the files, this is how we sell the videos, this is how we deliver the videos, it allowed me to rise above doing the camera work every time. And it allowed me to hire the camera operator. And that's, I think, the ultimate goal. If you're trying to scale a business, it's not that you're trying to create a new job for yourself that you get really busy doing. It's that you create a job that someone else could do. Whether you want them to or not, if you want your business to survive and you want it to survive as an income stream for you, then you need someone else to be able to do that. Like if anything were to happen to you, if you get sick, someone else has to be able to do it. So think of this image of me getting away from the camera or you getting out of your doing what you do by having a process. All right, number 5, this is the last one. Knowing when to outsource versus hire. So take some time, kind of orient to this, but at the very top, this upside down pyramid, it really just starts with you. And if you're a startup or a small business of one person, then maybe it's just you today. And you have a finite amount of capacity, whether you're working 40, 50, 100 hours a week, there's only so much you can do. And then there's like the point of diminishing returns where you don't sleep and you go crazy, right? So it starts with just you. And so part of funneling down this journey here is adding capacity to yourself so that what you do gets a little bit more narrow. And so the next step after it's just you is that you hire, like I did, a non-dedicated virtual assistant. So a non-dedicated VA is someone that's not just working for you. That means that they're a pool of labor. And there's a lot of services like this. If you just Google non-dedicated VA, the one I use was called Fancy Hands, if it's still out there. But it's a pool of people, thousands of people that are just waiting to pick up a job on demand. Again, it goes with that on-demand trend. So there's going to be more and more of these services. It means that you've got a task that you need accomplished. And rather than making just the burden on yourself and you doing everything, you put the task into the universe and you say, can someone else please do this for me? I'm willing to pay $10 or $20 or $30. That is a non-dedicated virtual assistant, because what it's doing is it's freeing up a little bit of capacity for you so that you can pass off tasks that might be time consuming, but skill set wise, something that you don't need to be wasting a lot of time doing. And what you do with that extra capacity, say it frees up 2 hours a week, is you take on more of the hard work, more of the high revenue work in your business that really pushes things ahead. So you don't just pay for that capacity, make sure you leverage that capacity. The next step here is you plus a dedicated VA. So this is someone who works exclusively with you, or it might not be full-time exclusively with you, but it means that you've got one point of contact. You're not throwing your task into a pool and you don't know which one of the 1,000 people are going to do it. You start to build some rapport with someone and they get better at doing the tasks that you need them to do because they start to learn your preferences. So this costs a little bit more money, but you get a little bit better result. And again, the point is it's taking more off your plate. Then once you've maxed out your dedicated VA, maybe you need a part-time person. So especially if you're in a retail or in-person kind of business, you might need some physical local labor. You might need someone on your team locally to help you. And you can start off part-time. Post something on Craigslist, post something on Facebook. Just say, I'm looking for this many hours a week for this dollar amount. Because again, if you can pay someone else $10 an hour, or 12 or 14 or whatever minimum wage is right now, if you can pay that, and it means that it frees you up to do 20 or 25 or $50 an hour work, that's a win-win for the business. But then again, your job is to leverage that extra capacity so that you can now raise the bar on what the business produces. And then finally, it's you plus full-time. And for anyone that's listening, if you don't have a full-time person in your business yet, know that that is a major milestone that you hit, a major success. Like kudos to you, pat on the back, because most people never make it to where they've got a full-time person working for them. Beyond that, you add full-time people. And that's what all these other triangles are. Your journey as a leader in the business might be to narrow your focus down to the point where you can do a specific role and you can hand off other roles. And the more people that you bring on in the business is the more responsibilities that you're handing off and the more elevated you're getting in the company. So this is it's a simple graphic, but it really showcases how you kind of transcend through the business. So I guess in summary here, the point I want to make is that, the world changes, business changes, things happen, and COVID-19 probably forced the changes in your business you wouldn't have made. Like if things were just going well, you might not have considered all this stuff. You might not have unlocked the biggest opportunity or found the best employee for your business. And so if you can think about this from a positive standpoint, realize that your business could have been worse off before if it had not taken this detour. So again, as we go through these one more last time, the points here: sell less, simpler is easier to scale. The next one is deep, not wide. Pick your niche. The niches, the riches are in the niches. Remember that. Cash in your points, like I did with my segue. Again, metaphorically, but this is really just look at the assets that you have: testimonials, customers, feedback, and use that to your advantage. Next, build a process that you don't have to do forever. So just think about that. Even if you're doing it today, it's something that you're standardizing so someone else could do it. And then slowly start to scale up your team, even if it starts with virtual resources. And then of course, just track your metrics, use free dashboard tools, be plugged into your business, because you'll see over time how things are trending in the positive. Thank you for the time. You can connect with me on any of these, but for now, let's open it up for questions.
That's great, Chris. Thank you so much. That's awesome stuff. Hey, we were talking earlier before the session. You were talking about your employees and kind of the track that you've been going on. Can you give us a little update on that? That's a really good story, and how you're hiring and what you're doing with your team.
Yeah, sure. So we are at a team of 41 right now, but the crazy thing is we've hired 13 in the last like 60, 70 days. So since we've been remote, 13 of those hires have been newly onboarded. And like 10 of them I've never met. A couple of them we knew beforehand, but it's a really weird time. But fortunately, we've been able to leverage our tool, onboard people, explain our business, explain our processes. But we're in a new world now where people need to be more aligned than ever, and your best practices are what drive your business. And so we've seen a increase in traffic, fortunately.
Have you, so you've hired directly on Zoom basically then, right? A lot of the hires have been remote.
Yeah.
That's
a
awesome.
lot of referrals through LinkedIn, a lot of organic, people in our network that are looking for work. What I've always felt was so cool about hiring people is that employees are really an investment. Like no one's a cost. If you're hiring someone for your business, either that, like I said, they're going to free up enough capacity so you can do above and beyond, or it's that they're going to create enough value for the business doing something you're not even doing. Like they're going to do something you're not doing. And so when I saw people coming available in the market that were just amazing, I was like, wow, our business can do that. Our business could do that. Our business could do that. And like all of those are micro investments in driving what we're creating.
That's awesome. So what's the makeup of the businesses that you currently serve? Is there one specific industry segment, or is it across the board?
No, it's across the board. We've got customers in 120 plus countries now, over 4,000 businesses. So I don't think any industry represents even double-digit percentages. So from our niching perspective, it's not necessarily an industry this time. It's more company size. We focus on the 5 to 100 employees is our sweet spot. And so by being that small business focus, that's what's really driven it.
What are some of the tools that you're using the most right now? And then what are the tools that you see your companies that you're serving using the most right now?
Well, for us, our remote stack is Slack for communication, Zoom for video chats, Asana for project management, Trainual, of course, for our processes, best practices, onboarding. We use Lever as an applicant tracking system that helps keep things going with our hiring process. We use LinkedIn Recruiter for finding people. Of course, all our financial tools like Xero is all cloud-based. So we were fortunate that a lot of our tools were already cloud-based. All the advertising tools, the CRMs, all of that. And I think it's largely the same with our customers. Like in Trainual, we actually polled the audience and started creating templates in our system for all the how-tos for other software tools, because when you're hiring someone new, they've got to get up to speed on your tool set. And what you use. And theirs were largely the same as ours. It was like, add in the Microsoft suite and the Google Apps suite and all that. There's really like a couple dozen tools that are the top 80% of users.
And if you were to label the first like go-to marketing aspect that you're successful with getting leads, and what would that be today? And has that changed in the last like 90 days?
It hasn't changed much. It's diversified as we've gotten bigger, but in the last 90 days, it hasn't changed. I mean, our biggest acquisition channels have always been Facebook and Instagram. We're starting to do more YouTube pre-roll ads. We do a lot of paid ads, but we also have a PR in-house. And so we get a lot of organic podcasts. If people aren't producing content, you can do that for free. Like you can start posting a video a day or blog posts or make your own podcast. It's all free. And it's a really great way to just build authority in a space. So we've done that. Trying to think of some of the more recent things that we've changed. But I guess the big shift with our paid strategy was that initially, like in March, when this all went down, we shifted to more of a optimize for traffic mindset instead of optimize for conversions. Like we thought people aren't necessarily looking for something to buy right now. No, that's not the conversation people are having. So people are looking for value. They're looking for help. And so we doubled down with our existing customers and said, look, free services. We will build out your tool. Like just let us know what you need. Unlimited, call us. We doubled the people we had in customer success. We put a big focus on our existing team. And then we shifted our new customer messaging to drive traffic to remoteworkresources.com we created, which is just blog posts and tools and software and like all things that can help you be remote. We doubled our blog posts about remote content and just like how we were working from home. We made those kind of shifts, I guess.
And do you see that then shifting later on down the road, or will you still stay traffic oriented as opposed to conversion?
No, we've shifted a little. I mean, it's a constant changing process. Like we just launched the playbook challenge, we call it, which has nothing to do with our software. It's teaching people the do-it-yourself version of making a playbook in Google Docs. And it's a $10 course. And we started marketing that. We're getting tons of signups in that. And then out of the back of that, people that do it themselves and see kind of the limitations can sign up for Trainual, and we put everything in, so that's been like a new funnel that we've come up with as a result of this. So I think things are just, they're constantly changing, but like, if you can't get customers right now, you can get something. Like you can either get traffic to your website, you can get free customers, you can give stuff away, you can get testimonials. Like think about in any business, there's something that could be growing right now. Even if your revenue is not growing, something in your business should be growing.
Love that. I love that. So you're using Facebook and Instagram more than Google at this point, or using a combination?
We are. So for us, again, this is different for every business, but for us, Facebook and Instagram are more conversational, and we're trying to be a part of the conversation of that's what's going on. Whereas when someone's searching for something on Google, they're searching targeted keywords for very specific solutions. And in our space, we compete against more enterprise tools that might use the same keywords as us. And so an enterprise big company tool that's targeting onboarding or something like that, they can afford to spend hundreds of dollars on a click because their tool costs 6 figures. Whereas for us, our tool is $99. Like we're not going to compete for those clicks. Right. For us, the Google traffic that we get is mostly on, our branded keywords, people searching for Trainual. Good tip though, if you are doing Google, put ad spend or traffic, I guess just AdWords spend behind all the misspellings of your company name. So like say it phonetically or whatever, any way that you think people could mishear or misunderstand your company name, you could be picking up traffic there. Even if they're not organically finding your business because they spelt it wrong, you could be picking up traffic.
That's interesting. Right. Someone wanted you to rename or repeat the name of the remote toolkit page that you created?
remoteworkresources.com.
Okay, we'll try to post that up there. Excellent. Thank you. Awesome. So what about your companies that you're serving? Have you seen anything really unique that you're going to try out from small businesses that you've served?
Anything unique that we're going to
Like
try?
marketing wise or other, I'm certain with all the businesses that you're serving that you're learning from them as well.
Yeah, we're really learning what they need, like we've been creating, I mentioned templates earlier. We're just churning those out like 10 a week because we're talking to our customers so much more to try to understand what would be most helpful right now. And so one of the things we did was we always had this template library, but now we can bundle packs of templates together and we can generate a unique sign up link for a specific audience that might need those 7 templates. And so like that's one area where we're working in industries to say like, all right, what's the real estate playbook? Like let's bundle together the top dozen templates for a real estate brokerage and make a specific vertical landing page for that group to sign up. And so I think just understanding customers and narrowing down a little bit.
That's awesome. Well, great, Chris. It's been fantastic. Is there any parting comments that you'd like to make to the audience?
No, just, I hope it was helpful. This kind of content we try to put out all the time. So if you're interested, you can check out our YouTube channel and just search Chris Ronzio on YouTube. I put stuff out every week. And if I can be a resource for anyone, reach out to me, LinkedIn, Instagram. Those are usually where I hang out.
That's so cool, Chris. Thank you so much for sharing this. This has been invaluable as we start to focus in on that relaunch and thinking about new ideas and focusing in on the niches that can really matter. So really appreciate it. And thanks for your time today, Chris. And this was incredibly valuable for our company. So we do appreciate it.
Great. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks, everybody. We'll be returning back tomorrow at 9 o'clock. And again, thanks for Chris Ronzio and Trainial. Please check out his remoteworkresources.com and also trainial.com. Thank you.